Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm back here with my biology lessons video, and today we will be discussing about the most important and interesting topic, that is the human brain. And this topic is from the chapter Control and Coordination of class 10 Science. And if you haven't watched my previous videos, make sure to watch it because this is the continuation of a previous lesson. Okay, so learning objectives for today is, after watching this video, you should be able to draw the structure of a human brain, identify different parts of the brain, and mention the function of each part. Okay, so first let's say the general features of our brain. So human brain is the central organ of the nervous system. This is the central organ. Central means the main organ. Why? Because brain controls almost all the functions of our body. Sometimes it is also called as director of the body. Okay? Because it directs all the movements of the body, and with the spinal cord makes up the central nervous system. So we have discussed before that spinal cord and brain consist of central nervous system. Okay, so it also controls most of the activities of the body by processing it, integrating and coordinating the information that is received from the sense organ, and also make the precise decisions or movements according to the situations. The brain is contained in and protected by the skull bones of the head, which is also called as cranium. Since brain is very vital organ of our body, so it needs to be well protected. So it is protected by a skull bone, okay, skull bone, which is also called as cranium. So you can see in this picture, this is the cranium. So the human brain is divided into three different areas, three different regions. That is forebrain, this red part, this is the forebrain, midbrain, the middle part, and the hindbrain, back part of the brain. Now let's see the different parts of the brain through the help of diagram. So brain uh, is divided into three different parts, that is forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Okay, you can see forebrain. So forebrain in turns made up of cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. So you can see here, this is the forebrain. Okay, this is forebrain. It also consists of, this is cerebrum actually, cerebrum, and forebrain also consists of hypothalamus and glands, that is thalamus, hypothalamus, and pituitary glands. Okay, now these glands about this thalamus and hypothalamus we will study in next video. Midbrain is just the middle part of the brain, and the hindbrain consists of cerebellum, pons, and medulla. So you can see here, this part is pons, this part is medulla, and this gill shaped structure is cerebellum. And you can see here, spinal cord, it is extended from the medulla. So medulla is connected with the spinal cord. Now let's see the first part of the brain, that is forebrain. Okay, it consists of cerebrum. Now this cerebrum controls the thinking part. Okay, it controls the thinking part of the brain, and also all the voluntary actions. Now whatever kind of actions you are performing, if that involves thinking part, then it is controlled by cerebrum. For example, when you read, when you watch movies, even when you miss home, when you miss your friends, that part thinking is involved. Okay, so whenever your brain involves thinking, that means it is controlled by the cerebrum. And also it controls all the voluntary actions. Now voluntary actions means the actions which is controlled by you, which is under control of your will, your conscious thought. For example, if you want to raise your hand, you can raise your hand. If you want to sit, you can sit. If you want to stand, if you want to run, you can run. So all these voluntary actions are also controlled by cerebrum. So the cerebrum is also our mental faculty, site of our mental faculties like learning, reasoning, intelligence, personality, and memory. So whatever memory you have from your past experiences, that is also uh, in the cerebrum part of the brain. Okay, if you are thinking of something from the past, then we can say your cerebrum is working, or your cerebrum is functioning. Okay, so it also controls our thoughts, sensation, actions, and movements. So if you can feel pain, if you can feel hot or cold, so your cerebrum is working. Okay, now if you see the structure of this part, cerebrum, it also again consists of three different areas, that is association areas, sensory areas, and motor areas. You can see here the gray colored part is association areas, green colored is sensory areas, and this blue color is motor areas. Now what are the functions of these areas? Association areas control thinking and memory, store information and experiences. So whatever memory you have from the past experiences, okay, it is preserved or it is saved in the association part of your brain. Okay, if you can remember the moments from your past, then you can say your association area is active or it is functioning. Okay, now sensory areas, information is received from the sense organs and give us the sensation or feeling. Now if you remember, we have uh, five different sense organs. Okay, from all these sense organs, we receive some message or information through receptors. So receptors are present in the sensory organs. Those receptors will receive the, or they will sense the information, and it is brought to the brain. So in the brain there is a part called as sensory areas. It will receive all the information from the sense organ and give us the sensation or feeling. So feeling of pain, feeling of cold, hot, burning sensation, all it all is present in this area, that is sensory area. And the last one is motor areas. Instructions are sent to muscles to do various types of job. Now whatever functions, whatever movements you have to perform, okay, according to the information you have received, okay, so that the final action is done by the motor areas, that is instructions are sent to the muscles or glands, and that muscle will contract and it will show some kind of movement. Now I will give you some example, one example of this, how these different areas work. Okay, so we'll take the example of reflex action. When we touch the hot plate, so what happens when we touch the hot plate? You will feel the pain. Okay, you'll feel the pain, burning sensation. So when you feel the pain, our sensory areas are active. Okay, this because of the sensory areas you can feel the pain. Now after you felt the pain, what happens? You will immediately pull your hand away from the a hot plate. So in that case, what's happening? Our motor areas are active now. So as soon as you feel the pain, motor areas will receive that that message information, and the instructions are sent to the muscles, where your muscles of your hand will contract and you'll pull your hand. So in that case, your motor areas is active. And finally what happens now? You have touched the hot plate. Now tomorrow, day after tomorrow, after many days or after many months also, you remember that actions, you remember that moment. So that memory is because of the association areas. Okay, so cerebrum is the main part of the brain which controls all our voluntary actions and thinking part of the brain. Okay, so now let's see about midbrain. So midbrain is the middle part of the brain. So you can see here, green color part of the brain is midbrain. It is smaller in size as compared to other part of the brain. So it controls reflex movements of the head, neck, and trunk in response to visual and auditory stimuli. So whatever you hear, whatever actions you do after hearing, after seeing. So those actions are done by midbrain. Example, movement of eye muscles, changes in pupil size and shape. So you can say some of the involuntary movements of the body is performed by midbrain. Okay, since reflex movements are involuntary actions, so you can say midbrain controls some of the involuntary movements of our body. Now let's see the final part of the brain, that is hindbrain. So hindbrain, as discussed earlier, consists of three different parts, that is pons, cerebellum and medulla. Okay, you can see the pictures. This is pons, this is medulla and this is cerebellum. So pons regulate respiration. So if you remember the process of respiration, what happens in respiration? With the help of oxygen, food is broken down to produce energy. So that all process of respiration is done by pons. Okay. Cerebellum is another part of hindbrain which helps in maintaining posture and balance of the body. It also enables us to make precise and accurate movement. So posture of the body, okay, balance of the body. If you can give a good posture, okay, while sitting, while walking, while doing any kind of things, that means your cerebellum is working to its full potential. Some people, you can see some people, they dance very well. Okay, that is also because of the cerebellum. If if the people are good at dance, then you can think or you can say that their cerebellum is working to its full potential, or its cerebellum, they have good cerebellum. Okay, so cerebellum helps us in walking, dancing, riding a bicycle, etc. So you know that all people are not good at dance or any kind of sports. Okay, so this is because their cerebellum are not functioning to its full potential. Okay, and the final part, that is medulla. Medulla controls various involuntary actions such as heart beat, breathing, blood pressure, etc. So medulla controls our involuntary actions like heartbeat, breathing, okay, blood pressure, etc. So your heart is beating almost every time, okay, from the time of birth to death. So within this period of time, your heart beats continuously, and that is because of the part of the brain which is called as medulla. So medulla is active almost every time of the of our life. Again, so breathing also. So we cannot survive without breathing. Okay, so breathing is also controlled by medulla. It also controls some reflexes like swallowing, coughing, sneezing, secretion of saliva, and vomiting. So whenever we have reflexes like swallowing, coughing, sneezing, that time also medulla is active. Okay, so these are the different parts of the brain and their functions. Now I will show you a small clip just to give you example of how our brain works. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Now let's connect this example with working of our brain. Okay, so when we are dancing, our body is moving voluntarily, so cerebrum is active. so we can decide what kind of movement we can do. So that is because of cerebrum. And some people are good at dancing, some are not. So you can say the people who can dance well, they really have good cerebrum. Okay, I mean cerebellum. They have good cerebellum. We discussed before, right? Cerebellum controls the posture, balance of the body, and it also helps us in dancing, walking, etc. So if some people are dancing well, then their cerebellum is working to its best potential. Now if you remember this dance, at certain point I have missed few steps. Okay, I forgot the steps. You can see here, yeah, right here, I forgot the steps. And we can say that at that particular point my cerebrum stopped working, because it's all about the memory. I forgot the steps, the memory, the experience which I had in my brain, the steps which I had learned before, I forgot at this point. So you can say at this certain point my cerebrum stopped working for a while. So the last part I want to relate from this video is, if you notice that at certain point music gets stopped, right? So even after the music is stopped, we continue to dance, right? And that is because we already knew the steps. Okay, in our brain we had those steps which we had learned before. So this is all about the cerebrum. Now at that particular point you can say that cerebrum is functioning well, cerebrum is working well, because it has the memory of that steps, so we could dance even if music was not being played. So this was a simple example of how our brain works. Okay, so now you can also relate your everyday life activities with the brain, how it functions. Okay, when you are walking, when you are writing, when you are sleeping, so how brain works, which part of the brain works. Okay, so now if you remember the learning objectives of this video, you have to draw, you should be able to draw, uh, you should be able to identify the different parts of the brain and mention their functions. Now I hope you are clear with the video. Now what you need to do is you need to practice this diagram. Okay, try to label it and identify different parts, and try to remember the functions of the brain. Okay, so especially in board you'll be given this kind of structure. Sometimes you'll be given to draw the structure of the brain, so that time you have to draw this structure. Sometimes diagrams are given, but these labels are not there, so you need to label the different parts. You need to identify which part is what. Okay, so I hope you are clear with this lesson. And we have a small topic from this chapter now, that is the endocrine system or hormonal system. So we will be discussing that in our next video. Thank you so much.